So this is my take on the ToolkitRC M8 battery charger. A lot of people have reviewed this for the features, but I'm going to basically review this as a battery charger. I'm going to power it up from this big old power supply here. I get this on eBay, 350 watts, 24 volts DC. It was like $22, $23, something like that. When it's powered up, you can go back on the video. The revision displayed 1.21. I just put this revision on the other day. When I went to do the firmware update, I think it was 1.18 or something like that, I wasn't able to connect this to any of my Windows 7 machines. So you're going to need a Windows 10 machine because that's what worked for this. I was able to successfully update the firmware. Now, earlier on, I couldn't charge anything. It kept saying input too low, and it was set for 12 volts, and I had a 12.6 volt output. I ended up replacing my power supply only with a heavier one, only to find out that this one did the same thing. So tech support told me that the input voltage needed to be calibrated. So when I did run that calibration system through, this told me that I was putting 11 volts in when it really was 12. So since I did the firmware update to 1.21, and I'm assuming that because I did that, all the settings I made were redefaulted. If you hold this down and power it up, you go into, this is all in the manual by the way, you go into calibration mode, and you can calibrate the input voltage, and then you can calibrate each cell if it's treating the cells incorrectly. I don't know if that's a good idea or not because I had mixed results on doing that. I got the input too low trouble going, but I'm not so sure that it was charging and discharging the batteries properly, because I caught this thing is supposed to be going down to discharging to 0.85 volts, and I caught it, some of the cells were down to 0.81 and it was still going. So once I put 1.21 in, I'm leaving it as at default. So the reason, why did I buy this charger? I didn't buy it for the extra features that were reviewed. By the way, I'm going to exit here. 1.21, you saw it down there. I bought it because of the 300 watts, 15 amps for 40 bucks. Many times I've charged up a bunch of batteries ahead of time, expecting good weather, anticipating good weather the next day, and it rained. So now I have to go a whole week with my batteries all charged up? No, so I end up discharging them, then hoping that the next weekend the weather's going to be good, charging them up again. That was kind of a bummer. So with this extra power, I can combine it. As long as you have a good enough input, you can combine it with a parallel charging board. My plans are to charge up 4 batteries in one shot the very morning that I'm going to go flying. You could do up to 10 on this one. This is a Joshua Bardwell parallel charger board. I wouldn't charge batteries up with a regular parallel charging board, because if I made a mistake, something bad would happen. This has lots of protection built in. If it wasn't for this board, I would not be parallel charging right now. This has fusible mains, and it has automatic resetting circuit breakers for the balance leads. So that covered both bases nicely. So charge them all up right on that morning. I had 4 batteries on here, and I had to set it 2 amps, and I did some checking with a watt meter and confirmed that each battery was getting a portion of the 2 amps. So if I wanted all of them to get 2 amps, I ended up cranking this up to 8.5 amps out, and that put 2 amps in every one of my batteries. So this can handle it. It didn't get hot. It was very happy doing that. I didn't bring them all the way up because it was just a test, and the weather right now is not conducive to flying. So that being said, with the charger and everything, I wanted to point out that it's better to charge in a box, something like this. Just chuck it in and charge it up in case something bad happens. This is not the best fireproof solution, but at least you got some protection on the bottom and the side, so if anything happened, it's coming up and out and not out and spreading out all over the place. I've never had a problem with batteries taking off like that, and I don't plan on having a problem with batteries taking off like that. Now, as far as other uses for this, everyone's showing it with a battery on the input, and they're saying it's a field charger, and I can't imagine what amount of batteries you'd have to carry with you in order to charge a bunch of other batteries for the day. I don't understand how that's supposed to work, so I would probably connect this to my 12-volt car battery or just charge everything up the morning of. In conclusion, I would like to say that instead of charging everything up one at a time with a 50-watt power supply, and although I've had this for a long time and I like it a lot, one battery at a time, for me, no more. Being late to the field in the morning, no more. ToolkitRC M8 has set me free, along with a Joshua Bardwell parallel battery charger. Snap in a couple of good batteries, give it about an hour and a half, and you got 4 or 8, however many batteries you can crank out at a time. And we're ready to go with the field. And if you have some sort of supply at the field, put it in there. Keep your parallel charging board connected all the time so you don't have to mess with it. And just go in and out with the batteries on here. Put it all together, keep it in a metal box or a safe container. Thank you for watching.